About a month ago, I did a swing evaluation on Owen Meeds and I went over his golf swing and boy, it was a treat. Today we sit down with Owen in an interview and discuss his golf journey and what it takes to accomplish being one of the longest hitters on earth. We also go over many stereotypes of long drivers. I had a great time getting to know him over the 45 minutes and think he had some great advice on how the average player can get more out of their motions. If you enjoy this type of content, please help support the channel with likes, comments, shares, and I know it's a cheesy ask, but it does help the channel grow, and we send profits from this channel and our development academies to the Hillerhood Foundation in South Africa to get children into golf. But enough of that hoopla. Let's get ready to chat with the great Owen Meeds. Hey, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
That's right.
Yeah, how's the weather like over there now?
It's been chucking it down today, yesterday, probably chucking it down tomorrow.
You have to love playing in the rain, I guess.
I just don't play in the rain.
So you must play what, 3 times a year?
Yeah, it's getting like that. I'd play a lot more if I was over there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, anytime you're in the desert over here, come on by. There's plenty of sunny days over here. I think we get like 2 or 3 days of rain.
Can't handle the heat when I come over there, though. That's the only problem.
You got to go to Canada then, somewhere in the summertime.
Yeah, well, I went over there this summer and that was boiling.
Was it really?
34 degrees when I was up there.
So what's hot to you?
Anything above 20.
Oh man, you're not going to do well over here. So I was watching some of your videos, and I think one of the biggest misnomers out there for long drive competitors is their ability to play. One of the things that I'm kind of tired of hearing is, oh well, the guy can hit it 350, 400, but he can't chip or putt. But I want you to tell people right now, what is your playing ability?
Well, I've had my days playing off scratch over the years, but now that I'm not playing so much, I play off 2. Well, I went up to 2 probably 4 years ago, and it just hasn't changed since then, really.
Yeah.
I've had my good times.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I've played with a lot of long drive hitters, and they have a different gear. It seems like they have their playing gear, which is 80% of their motion. But then when they have the competitive gear, when they're going out to hit the ball as far as they can, it's like they switch a gear and their swing changes a little bit. You find that's the same with you?
It's a lot easier than people think to switch from your long drive swing back to your normal swing. It's not too hard at all, to be fair.
Let me just get a more understanding about who you are. I mean, when did you get into golf? When did you decide that long drive was going to be your thing? I mean, I couldn't imagine that switch when that happened. Yeah,
well, I've been playing golf ever since I could walk, pretty much. I've been one of them, just straight out of the gate playing golf. I was lucky enough when I was younger. I've played in the States loads of times in all the big junior events over there and stuff like that. I've played in Portugal, everywhere around Europe, really, Scotland, Ireland, and then just fell out of love with the game. Didn't play it I say I didn't play it. I played maybe once every few months for a couple of years, and that I was getting to the age there where I was growing a bit taller. I was past over 6 foot, getting the ball out there. And a lot of people down my local golf club was just like, you've got to give long drive a go, because you must know Lee Cox.
Mm-hmm.
He's not too far from me. He's about 40 minutes. So everyone around here kind of knows who he is, and they were like, just go down there, have a lesson, see what it's like. So I went and had a lesson with him, and I just said to him, I'm thinking about trying long drive, but you've kind of got to tell me here and now if I'm ever going to do any good at it. And I went there, and I had the lesson, and he was like, you've definitely got a good shot at getting somewhere with it. Yeah. And then after that, you get something that tracks your speed, and just get addicted to chasing the numbers. Every time you see it creep up 1 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour, you're like, got to keep going, can't stop.
Yeah, so, it's amazing to me how hard it is to get 1 mile an hour club head speed.
Yeah, can take months to just get one. Yeah,
it's like everybody has their pinnacle. For me, my pinnacle is probably like 115, and for me to get to 117 or 116, 117, the amount of effort I need to create, like it's not worth it for me. I'm going to pull my back out if I try and get that. So I can't even imagine what it's like for being a long driver to just see these numbers creep up slowly and slowly. I mean, the amount of work it must take to get them to go up.
Yeah, well, the feeling when you get that first mile an hour, that's what keeps you going.
Yeah,
every mile an hour, no matter where you are, feels as good as the first one you got.
Absolutely. What is your top mile per hour club head speed?
Right now, I've hit 158 a couple times, but
That's
I've
insane.
managed to cruise around 155 quite often in speed sessions now.
That's just
But
amazing to me.
competing wise, I'm usually about 150 out there because it's a bit harder to when you're in a simulator and you can't actually see where the ball's going at some points. It's a lot easier to go faster than when you're outside trying to hit a grid.
Yeah. So in order for you to, in like your rankings, where would you say you are to where you want to be?
Well, world number one is what I'm going for.
Yeah.
It'll take some years, but I need to get over to America more. It's just a bit expensive at the moment. Obviously, just starting. I haven't got all the funding I might have in a couple of years or so.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting over for everything I can. I've I creeped into the top 40 this year because everything I have played in there, everything I have played in out there, I've done well. So I managed to pull up some points.
Good.
But hopefully, if I do get competing more, I should get up the rankings quite quick.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, your swing is very impressive. I was recommended your swing by one of my viewers to analyze it. And as soon as I took a look at your social media, I'm like, man, this is a quite unique swing. And you can see where you generate so much power from. And it's just the positions you're able to get into, are just mind blowing. If I personally, if I try to swing like that, it would definitely hurt my body. So it does take a body structure, a body type. And one thing I'm trying to educate. Absolutely. One thing I'm trying to educate the viewers is there's no reason to try and emulate golf swings because everyone's so unique. There's no way that you could emulate Tiger's swing. Your swing is your swing. So do you have any words of wisdom for somebody that can hit the ball so far on how to maybe generate a little bit more club head speed within their body type?
But it's all in the movement because when I first started, I had maybe one of the worst long drive movements going. Like I had no leg action, no upper body action. It was all obviously playing like a lot of high level golf. It was like hitting a good shot every time. You've got if you want to hit it further, you have to get out of that mindset at some point because you just can't increase speed whilst trying to hit a fairway. It just doesn't work that way. So I think anyone can increase speed. No one out there has got the perfect swing for speed. When I first started, my biggest problem was I was just stuck on my left-hand side. I was one of those where I was basically punching my driver. And then that was one of the first things Lee taught me was shifting my weight. And that, I just put speed on straight away. I think my first lesson I had with him was using a 6-iron. I maxed out about 113, 114, which was obviously fast. That's why he said you could, I could get somewhere with it. But I left and I was on 119 clubhead speed with a 6-iron.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
that
like
was an
tour
hour
guide
lesson.
drivers. I mean, you're hitting the club speed as a tour guide driver. That's awesome. And so
Well,
when you talk about clearing that left side of you, that move that you have when you completely take your left foot back and move it off the side, is that the move that he was working with you?
Well, I've never worked on that. That's just come from when you've got the speed. You can't do anything else. Your leg can't stay there. It just happens. Right. I don't think about my foot going there at all, and I never have.
Yeah.
Just once my speed started getting higher, the foot just started going further and further and further away from me.
Yeah, your body's like, look, I got to get out the way. You're gonna break a hip or something.
Yeah, that is. Well, I think people do that when if their foot gets stuck in the ground or something. The hip does go sometimes. Yeah, it has to clear out of the way.
It does. And in terms of equipment, I started playing golf in the 80s, so equipment has changed quite a bit. And I remember in the 90s where if you were a member of the 350 club, which is anybody hit, it was a big deal. Like you were looked upon as like a god. And I remember watching guys hitting over 350, and we were like, "Oh my god, that's the pinnacle. No one's going to get further." Now it's 450. I don't know if anyone's broken the 500-yard mark, but it's going to come soon. It's coming.
It's the event in America that they do, and I think it's Denver, where it's a mile high.
Right.
And, they've got the record there at 496, so they've come pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
So in terms of equipment
conditions.
What are you looking for in equipment? Are you looking for, obviously shaft makeup is a huge part of it, but
the shaft is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Obviously we use I say we're all using 3 inches longer. Not everyone does. I use 3 inches longer. When I go out on the course, I use my 3 inches longer driver as well. Just comfortable with it, but some people use like 47 inch, 47 and a half. Some people as well do use like a 45 on the grid starting out. just get some balls in play. Head wise, I think most people like me knock it down 2 degrees, so we've got like between 4 and 5 degree heads. And I think probably 75% of the people out there knock it down another 2. So we're all sitting at about 2.5 degrees free.
That's insane. So for everybody watching at home, that's the loft of your putter. Putter has about 2 degrees of loft.
It's less.
So you're basically hitting a putter.
Yeah.
47-inch putter. Now,
Well,
do you contribute that negative loft? We're going to call it negative loft for a driver because of your swinging so far up on it that you add loft?
Well, we're trying to swing up on it. When I first started, that I was hitting down on it, so that's one thing I've had to massively improve. So obviously, when you're hitting up on it, you can hit those high-low spin shots, which is obviously it's going to be your longest shots. But I think the best is probably you want to aim for about 10 degrees at hitting up on the ball. So obviously, if you've got like an 8-degree driver, your launch is going right up.
Right.
Like you don't need it anymore. You're basically putting all the loft on with the angle of attack.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so that 2 degrees loft with 10 up gives you about 12 degrees launch angle. Yeah,
I think 12 to 15 is what people usually aim for on the launch angle.
Yeah.
And
what's your spin rate?
Well, I try, because I'm a higher launcher, I try and aim a bit lower. But between about 1800 and 2500 is it's pretty similar to a pro, to be fair. So, but obviously it depends on conditions as well. A lot of people plan for the event. So like in Denver, when it's a mile high, everyone's trying to get a bit more spin to keep it up in the air. Obviously, less air pressure. It's just going to keep flying and flying when it's up there. And you get like the softer grids where you've got to fly it, stuff like that, or the harder grids where they want to launch it a bit lower with less spin. I don't get too technical with it. I try not to anyway.
Technicalities, paralysis by analysis, right? You start getting away from what you're naturally gifted at. So it's that combination of always trying to search for a little bit more, but not getting too analytical where it freezes you up. And I think that's the one problem with the instruction nowadays. We have so much feedback. We have so much, you can get hooked up to machines and figure out all your angles, and you start looking at numbers, and then you forget about the art form or the actual motion. It's like if you go ask Steph Curry, it's like, hey, Steph, what angle do you bounce the ball at? What angle do you release? What's your pressure point? He's got, hey, man, I just throw the ball up. At some point, you just got to let your natural ability take over. And I think, that's what really makes me envious of you guys, is the ability to just swing away and trust that all the work has been built into your motions.
Well, it helps you get 6 shots.
That's true.
Any less and it'd be tough.
Imagine if it was like 2 shots. You got 2 shots.
Because it's a 60-yard grid. Well, that's the max. And you think thinking that, you think that's massive, but when you stood there and there's a bit of pressure on you hitting against someone, it gets a lot tighter.
I tell you what, I went to the long drive facility. I believe it was in Arizona, and they have, it's so long. It's like 500 yards long, and you smother a drive, and you get halfway, and you're like, oh man, this is ridiculous. You have no reward or anything. So to see you guys is really impressive. Now, when you are playing, do you get a lot of people saying, hey man, go for this green, or do you have to just tell them, hey, let me play my own game?
Well, most of the time when I do play it's for fun, so I'm just whacking balls at greens now. But if I'm playing someone in a money match, I'll try and keep the driver away as much as possible.
Do you break down to like the 3-wood or something, or the irons off the tee?
I recently bought a 3-wood, but I can still get that out there, 330, 340. So usually go down to 3-iron, 4-iron.
Yeah, that's a totally different game.
Yeah. But I don't really practice them, but they'll do better than a bad driver.
That's right. So do you have any aspirations at all to play competitively with just tour level quality, like go and play?
Well, they're just so good now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're tough.
Growing up, I was around all of it, so I've got a lot of friends now that are making it there, and the level between me and them now, it was so close back in the day, and now I wouldn't even take them on for a $5. They're just that good.
Every generation, it seems, is just getting better, younger. I watched a bunch of the junior kids out here in Southern California, and you got 12-year-olds shooting 65s. And it's like, man, and they do it like it's no big deal. And it's just amazing what the next generation is going to be like. So I missed the boat. There's no way I can even think about competing because, I go out and compete with some of these kids I play and they beat me and I got to come up with some excuses like, oh, my back's hurting or I got to make it up. But these guys are good. So, but you're young enough. I mean, you can definitely make that switch if you feel.
Well, the reason I stopped and just gave up on it completely, I got the yips and my putting, and that was one of the worst things I've ever been through. I used to turning up to tournaments thinking, am I going to be able to hold like a 1 foot putt today?
Yeah.
The mind games of competitive golf are just horrendous.
You get so mentally exhausted, don't you? Like your body's fine, but mentally you just feel so drained.
Yeah, that's the point I got to in golf. That's what made me stop. I just had enough. I had to get away from it. Just didn't play for a bit. But I'm glad now when I go back out and play now, I do enjoy it a lot more than I did.
That's good.
Which is so one day maybe I might play on a little lower level tour somewhere, but PGA Tour's too far away.
Man, it's I suffer from the yips as well, and it got to the point where I was either trying to hole out like a 100-yard wedge or hope I missed the green so I can try and chip it in the hole. And even when you have a 1 foot putt, you get up there, you're shaking. It's like, why am I shaking over 1 foot putt and you miss it? But I heard there was a research on the yips, and you actually lose conscience for a split second because it's like some PTSD over something that happened. Maybe it was a putt that you missed to lose a tournament and it just triggered something. So you actually lose conscience, and that action of you jerking is you regaining conscience, and you can't really remember if you missed or made the putt. It's a very very sad situation if you have them.
The thing I really struggled with it was I'd go out there and I'd be walking up to a putt feeling absolutely fine. I've never struggled with like pressure or nerves or anything like that, and I'd be absolutely fine over the putt, and then I'd just miss it. Like all of a sudden, I'd just yip it and miss it. I'd feel fine completely the whole way through. Like I'd be confident I'm going to hit a good putt, and then just somewhere in the subconscious, it all goes wrong.
Yeah, and you see your wrist just take over, and like, oh god.
Yeah.
And then you got another 3-footer coming back, and it's just like a one-man tennis match. You're going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's brutal. So I've got a few questions here. Some of the viewers asked. Jeff Mossbrucker asked, what ball flight shape do you prefer? Draw, fade, or straight?
I absolutely prefer hitting a fade. But when I'm competing, I'll spend 30 minutes on the range just warming up a draw. Just to get it going. When I'm competing, I hit a draw, but anytime I'm golfing or something like that, it's fade all day long.
Yeah. For sure. What is your preference over a fade?
Just controlling a fade is so much better. Mm-hmm. And iron wise as well, especially hitting into greens. I've never liked hitting draws into greens. You just don't know how it's going to react as well as hitting a fade. Mm-hmm. So then when I was younger, I used to be a big drawer, because when you're chasing distance, when you're like 10, 11, you're going for the big draws, trying to get them running out.
Yeah.
And then you grow up and realise I've got to shoot a golf score here. So, yeah, I've had fades ingrained into me now for a few years.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest misunderstandings that amateurs have is they want the draw. But I prefer a fade myself. I mean, you look at one of the greats of the game, Jack Nicklaus faded the ball. Ben Hogan worked forever to try and fade the ball. Lee Trevino faded the ball. And these are all great ball strikers. So there's definitely something to the fade. I'm in total agreement with you. And distance, you don't really sacrifice that much distance at a certain club head speed. That fade can go the same distance as a draw. Yeah,
it just all depends on the spin.
Yeah,
when you're out there playing, you just go a bit more backspin on the fade, haven't you, than a draw.
A little bit, but it's good for the soft greens, right? You just stick it right there.
Yeah.
So the second question I have is from Auriferius. I hope I'm saying that right. What is your opinion on controlling the face so that it's square at impact?
Can't think about that. That'd be way too much. Just hope the club comes back somewhere near line.
Just hope the timing's good, right?
Yeah, well, you can't. I don't honestly know how you'd ever try and practice that.
Yeah,
you practice a swing and it comes along with it, I guess.
I think maybe what he is trying to figure out is, and it's hard to tell, but what do you think helps square the club face? Is it more the hands by themselves, the body rotation helps square, a combination of both?
I've always been a field golfer and very handsy, so, and I'm one of them, when you put a bad swing on it and you flip your hands to bring it back online a bit.
Yeah.
That's I'm one of them big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just let my hands do it. You got to trust yourself to hit the shot every time.
Yeah. There's so many people that are trying to get their body to square the club face, but they forget that the hands deliver the power. And if you take your hands out of it and you hold it onto that club face forever, you might hit it somewhat straighter, but your power is gone. You're just blocking it to the target all the time.
Well, I think you definitely find when you're trying to hit the fairway, you're going to miss it more times than if you're just trying to hit a golf shot.
That's right. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, when you try and pat it down there, that's when it all goes wrong. You just got to swing your swing.
That's right. And it's again, the paralysis by analysis. Do you ever find yourself in that situation in a competition where you're thinking too much?
Nah, well, not yet anyway. I haven't struggled with that. What I do is just go on the range and I'll find the shot I want to hit for the day, usually a draw, high draw. If it's into wind, I'll try and bring it down a bit. And then what I'll try and do is just hit as many shots in a row as similar as possible. And then I'll go out there all day, just hit the same shot. And if it goes a bit wrong, it goes a bit wrong. I just stick to it. Because overthinking it is bad.
If you can recall some of your competitors, are they all like you, or it's just a feel thing, or do you have some guys and girls out there that really are like the scientific mind that really try?
I think it all depends on the golfing background. I think like when you're out there, obviously the better golfers or the people that have grown up playing golf are going to have that feel factor that like the baseball players and the just pure out long drivers aren't going to have. So they definitely get an advantage from that. Like Carl Berkshire, Justin James, he's a very good one. Like he can play golf, so when he's out there, he can change his shot. But yeah, what you'll find is all the baseball players hit the same shot every event all the way through because they haven't got that ability to switch around.
And so in order for you to maintain your swing, because this is a big thing that I really preach in every video I do, is the amount of work that you have to do on your body. You can't just get out there and swing. Like, what do you go through every day? Stretching, working out, eating correctly, drinking water. I mean, can you just break it down from somebody that hits the ball almost 500 yards, what it takes to do that?
There's a lot. I get those comments on everyone. Oh, his back's going to go in 10 years. But I can guarantee my back's not going anywhere anytime soon. Because I've got two brilliant PTs I work with, and one of them specialises in injury prevention. So what we've just pretty much formed my body to withstand everything that I put it through. I've just loosened every joint possible, like going into every event. But when you're loosening stuff as well, you've got to just spend 2 weeks getting it really to where you want to, and then after that, you won't lose it as quick as you think. You can literally do once a week stretches on maybe the areas you've got good, and they will stay good. And then obviously you've got an area that's bad, you've just got to put a bit of extra work in. So usually I stretch every day, foam roll, stuff like that, just to loosen myself up. Practice wise is usually I quite like to like roll out really well, like get deep into the muscles, because I feel a lot better when I go to swing then. Obviously I play football as well, so I've always been around sort of doing that stuff, so I'm used to it and just feels good to me. Some people don't like foam rolling at all, they prefer to just start moving, but I feel a lot better when I do. I do recommend it. Warm up wise, I know a lot of people don't use irons in long drive, they'll just go straight to driver. And I'm not one of them either. I have to work through the bag, but I think that also comes from growing up. When you go on the range, like you never get your driver out straight away. That's just number one rule.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Number one rule when you're a kid, you want to get your driver out, but you can't
all the time. That's what you want.
Yeah.
When I teach my kids, we have so many kids in SoCal. The first, all right, kids, get your club out. Give them an option. They all grab the driver. I'm like, put that thing away. Get your wedge out. Just let's do it correctly.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to grow out of that one. I think I've still got to work through the bag. Yeah. So I'll like work through the bag as any typical golfer would. Get up to the driver and I'll just hit normal playing shots with it. Then once, it's all about how your body feels. Like I assume most people can tell when they're ready to push it a bit further. So I just wait for that signal, and then I'll start ramping up the speed. And one thing I've learned as well, because I'm a year in now, is try not to ramp up the speed too quickly. Because I've done it a few times where I've kind of got ahead of myself and worn myself out pre-event. So now I've kind of learned to look at my speed whilst I'm warming up and try and just increment it tiny bits at a time, just so I get to the top a lot smoother and it takes longer. So I got more swings in the bank, and then I just feel so much better, ready to hit balls. Than when
are you talking before your competition? This is how you warm up?
I pretty much do this before comp or before every practice session, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Warm up's just the same, just ramping up to speed. I find that if I do it that way, I can stay at my higher speeds a lot longer.
So you must have, I would imagine that your body says, okay, look, Owen, I've got 10 max swings in me, and I'm going to work my way up to those 10. And then once I get past 10, I work my way down? Or can your body now say, hey, look, we can go at this rate for an hour? I mean, at what point do you tell yourself, okay, let me just come on back down?
That's one thing you learn as well when you go. And when I first started, I was probably 30 swings maxing out, and I was done. Body was knackered. Yeah. Now I could probably hit 300 or 400 now, max speed.
Oh, wow.
Without feeling too much the next day. It's just conditioning. Your body gets used to whatever you do, doesn't it? So I just kept pushing myself. At the start, it was one of the things Lee told me to try and increase my sessions, because obviously if you're hitting more balls, you can push your body further. But yeah, I pretty much started at 30 balls and then worked all the way up to about 300. About now. We did have a little bit of a heat wave over here, and I was struggling to get that many balls out there. But yeah, we've had rain last couple of days, so I think we're back to normal. So I should be able to hit some more balls again.
Back to the nice English weather, right? So you say you can hit 300 full max swings in one session?
I could hit 300 balls over 150 club head speed, I'd have thought, yeah.
In the same time, no break, just bam.
But they're just the water breaks. Stuff like that. But yeah.
That's insane. Like, I don't think most people can hit 300 golf balls in the same day without waking up for pain. So it just shows how much your body is adapt now to its surrounding. Yeah. So do you see yourself in, I don't know how old you are, but let's say it's 20 years from now. Do you see yourself being able to keep up that lifestyle?
Well, it'll have to adapt with whatever happens. But I'd have thought that my body will just continue being able to hit that many balls. There's an English long driver. He must be 30 at least, and he can hit more balls than me. So it just shows it can be done. And he's been doing it for a long time. So as long as you're doing like the work that you need to do outside of just your goal swing, you shouldn't have any problems.
You hear that? That's straight from the mouth, because it is a huge thing that most of us don't do, myself included. I sit at this desk most of the time now. When I go play golf, my swing is like so constricted because I don't stretch, I don't work out as I used to. And when I did work out and stretch, my swing survived much longer. I can get away with more misses. My body felt better. But you really have to condition yourself. And, you know, I'm really proud of the fact that you are able to recognize that. And it's definitely going to prolong your career decades, I believe. So in terms of hours, let's put this into perspective. In hours per week, how much do you dedicate to taking care of your body in terms of stretching, working out?
I'd probably maybe 2 hours a day minimum. So maybe 2 to 3 hours a day on some sort of exercise involving long drive.
Yeah, just particularly long drive. No, playing football or soccer for us people here.
I play football as well. I try to not play like the week before events just in case I get injured. But I'll play 2 weeks before because I can recover in that time. I'm just a massive football fan. I wouldn't be saying if I didn't play football.
Right. What's your team?
That's just Man United. So
you're a friend now
this season.
You know, my dad was a Liverpool fan, so I decided, I'm going for Man U, and ever since it's just been Man U. So
That wouldn't
knew I
happen
liked you
over
for
here, I
some
can tell you
reason.
that. You wouldn't find many sons over here that support Man U if their dad supported Liverpool.
Oh,
That wouldn't happen.
it wouldn't happen. No, it's like, I guess it's like Boston and New York here. You know, if you're a Boston Red Sox fan, you got to stay in that lineage. If you break out, you're out the family type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of hatred between teams over here.
Oh, I'm sure the hooligans, right? Are you a hooligan?
No,
Not yet.
they're died out a bit. That's a bit of a 2000s era thing. That
You
1990s,
bring it
2000s.
back. Come on, bring it back. You could be the hooligan. That's your new nickname for long drive, the hooligan.
That's a bit rough for me.
You got to intimidate people, though. That's the way you intimidate them. So, in terms of any suggestion, because I don't want to keep you up too late. I know it's late at night for you, but if you can have a last word for people watching that you want to represent the long drive community, like what's one thing you want to tell them to stop saying about you guys?
It's got to. Well, there's so many actually. So many just.
Well, pick your
back,
top three. Your top three that you can think of.
The back one is that one is annoying because loads of people put comments like, "Oh, my back went out from playing golf," and I just think, yeah, but you don't do what I do.
Exactly. Yep.
You turn up 5 minutes before your tee time and hit the ball as hard as you can on the first start. I turn up an hour before and do everything I'm meant to do.
Plus, you've been working out for 20 hours in the week. You know, preparing for that. Okay, so the back thing. What's the two more?
There's I've done videos where I've actually played good golf and somehow I've still had comments saying I'm rubbish, and I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure that they didn't even watch the video.
I know you released one. I don't know, like a month ago that I watched, and you shot like one over for 9 holes, and you had a quite honestly not a best performance, and you were still able to shoot one over. So
yeah,
people need to just watch.
I could comfortably go out and shoot level par every round.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm really a 2 handicapper. That's just because I haven't really played, and when I have played, it's just been with my mates taking the having a bit of fun.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the back issue. We got the playing horrible, which I don't agree with both of those because I know you guys have phenomenal bodies and can play. What's the last one?
Oh, we got to think of another one now. There's got to be one. There's got to be so many. Oh, I can't think of one now off the top of my head.
I think the one that must drive you guys nuts is that you guys can't chip or putt.
Yeah, I was putting that in with rubbish golf, but yeah. Well, my chipping and that does usually get worse when I'm mid-training, but it's just golf's all a feel sport, isn't it? So once you've hit a few, you're back there, back where you were before.
Yeah, you know you can always tell a really good player that if they let's say they take 2 years off the sport and they come back, the first thing to come back is their chipping and putting because it's all feel. Yeah. You know, the full swing might take a little longer, but you can always tell a really good player by 75 yards and in. And I think that perfect example, when you go to the range and you look at how many people are hitting full swings, it's packed, you got people waiting for stalls, and you take a look at chipping and putting, there's like 2 people there. And people wonder why they don't get better at golf. It's because, 60% of the game comes from 70 yards and in, but yet you have 90% of the players just hitting drivers and irons and think that that's the game, but that's not the game. The game is the other way.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to go play golf with the guys that are chipping and putting because, hey, they're probably good for a scramble event. They can help me out with the short game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I was playing golf, the best part of my game definitely wasn't my driving. Best part of my game it was always pitching and chipping because it's just one of them. When you're a junior, I used to go down chipping green every day. I'd never go to the range.
Yeah,
I'd go on the putting green, but I'd never go to the range. It was always up at chipping green.
Yeah,
I was wild as anything off the tee. Just used to make up and down from everywhere. Really,
that's right. You've got to have a good short game when you're a little wild.
Yeah.
What's the your top 5 golf courses? What would they be? Played or unplayed, whatever.
Played or unplayed. Well, I've been to Torrey Pines and Pinehurst, but I didn't manage to get on either whilst I was over there. But
that's too bad. Them.
Yeah, I could have got on to Torrey Pines at about 6 o'clock in the morning, but I was like, nah. I was only about 8 or so when I was there. But yeah, Pinehurst looked pretty difficult. I played like number 8 or something when I was there in the competition. Still pretty impressive that golf course was.
Yeah.
Trying to think of, obviously Augusta's up there, number one.
Of course, yeah.
I've been told by a lot of people that have played St Andrews that I'd tear it apart, so I might put that up there.
I think you would, especially if it's no wind. I mean, if it's no wind, you'll eat that place up. It's just flat as a pancake.
Yeah, so I've been there loads of times. Never had the chance to play there. Trying to think of courses I have played. I've played a lot. There's a course that I really like. You probably haven't heard of it, but it's called Brancaster, and it's along the coast up in England, and it has 9 holes going one way, 9 holes coming straight back the other way.
Oh wow!
Just right on the beach.
Oh wow!
That's a really, and what's really funny about that course is when you turn up, there's a sign when you drive in saying you need to leave by 6 o'clock, otherwise you can't leave. Because the course floods when the sea comes in and cuts off the way out. Yeah, so you have to leave by a certain time.
You know what? When I played in England, but I spent a bit of time in Ireland, and we would drive around the coast of Ireland. We got to play like Lahinch, and it was beautiful over there. And when we found the cool thing about the Isles over there is when you drive, you can just see a sign that says golf course. There's no, you just drive over, and it could be this beautiful links golf course. There's nobody ever heard of. There's no clubhouse. There's a little box that says an honesty box, and you just put your green fee in the box and you go and play. It's just such a unique experience for anybody who hasn't gone over there. You just go and just grab your sticks and go and drive and find a golf course, and they're all really pretty.
Yeah, Scotland. I used to go up there for a competition every year, and there's 7 golf courses within a mile of each other.
Yeah.
So that's like Gullen number 1. That's probably on my list. That course is incredible. Yeah. So on the second tee box, you must have heard of Muirfield.
Oh yeah, I played Muirfield.
Have you?
Yeah.
So you can actually see the whole of Muirfield from the second tee on Gullen number 1. Yeah. So that's pretty special. It's just a straight downhill hole, and then you got Muirfield in the distance.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, it's just I can't remember the name of the golf course, but it was an old club, and there was an old castle that was on the right side, and there was a bunch of cemetery. So it was an old cemetery too. So my first shot, I sliced the ball. It hit a cemetery head, and it kicked it back in bounds. So I went over to the guy and says, "Hey, thank you for ball back in bounds."
Oh, you made par after that.
I don't know what I made, but it's a little eerie from that point on.
Well, he didn't stay with you for the rest of the round.
No, I think he jinxed me. I started to get the yips at that point. But hey, I appreciate you coming on and chatting it up. I don't want to keep you up any longer. It's already probably 11 at your time. So I appreciate you. Man. Anybody watching this, you got to go check out I'll leave all your Instagram profile, your YouTube video, channel up there too as well. Go check out his stuff. You got some cool videos. I know you're working with another long drive guy, right? I see some videos of the two of you going at it.
Me and Henry Woodman, we did a good video. Yeah. We went head to head. He played awful, but he was funny, so made a good video.
Yeah. Well, I really like watching your stuff. I wish you the best of luck, and I want to keep in touch with you. And any way we can help you, let us know. We'll always be here for you.
Sweet. Thank you.
All right, Owen.
Hopefully I'll be out there at some point.
Absolutely. You come out here, I'll get you on tour. You have a relationship with San Diego City, so we'll get you a tee time. We'll go play.
Love it.
Plenty of invites here. We have 200 golf courses within a 30-mile radius in the desert, so we'll find a place to play. So come on out.
Should do.
Come out in April when it's like 85. That's okay.
Oh,
that's a little too hot. Well, it's 122 today, so it's either 122 or 85. 122.
When I was in Pinehurst, it was 104, I think, the highest it got, and I was really struggling.
Yeah, I played golf about a month ago with one of my assistants. We went out to tee off. We were the only people in the golf course. It was 123, and she stopped. She says, "I can't do this." So I just played really quick, and by the time I'm driving home, I'm getting dizzy. I'm like, maybe that wasn't the best idea to play in 123.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound the best idea to me.
Come on over. It's tee times are open. All right, Owen. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Right, man. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Cheers, man. See ya.
Bye-bye.